Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Oldham, and I am joined today by Ken Erke. Ken, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So today we're talking about branding for a higher purpose. And Ken, I know that you've worked on many different campaigns and many different brands across your career. Let's kick off with tell me what really inspires you about brands that have a higher purpose.
Well, it's all throughout my career, I've had an opportunity to work for nonprofits, which has always been really inspiring and rewarding. Because the outcome is, they're very grateful, which is not always the case. We're in business like that. There's a financial transaction typically, and we don't need to hear "great job" or "thank you." But with that said, it is often nice, and so that is one of the opportunities when you're working with a nonprofit, and also to put your efforts into something that is really socially good,
Mhm.
right? It's a great reward. So that was more in the past, and currently, when you have an opportunity to work with somebody who has a mission-based company, it gives all of us the opportunity to be extremely focused, right? What we love about a mission-based company is that typically, whether it's the C-suite or those on the team, everybody comes to work knowing what they are going to do, right? They have a larger purpose. Versus perhaps a consumer product who everybody has a little section of the chain, right? I'm a driver for the company, and my job is to deliver on time. Versus, I'm the marketer for the company, and we have to tell that story. I think that mission-based companies really, it's very concise, it's very clear, and so you get a group of people all marching in the same direction, which is you experience the power of that, right? Like you can definitely see when everybody is working on a single focus, just how positive and powerful that can be.
Absolutely. Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think, as an example, United Community, you certainly led the charge there in helping us on that piece of business. And so tell us about that, the story and, how you transform their brand.
Well, in collaboration with you, that was a an assignment to transform their message and their branding. But what's interesting is they never really wanted that kind of revolution, right? They wanted an evolution of their brand. They felt that they had a strong um, North Star, so to speak, which was to end multi-generational poverty. But with that said, the name was United Community Ministries, and they said that they were no longer necessarily taking part in that ministries
Mhm.
aspect, right? And so they wanted to have a new name, they wanted to have a new look, and and we were collectively charged with that. What was really clear, though, was that their story was that of a divided community, and so as we evolved the brand look and feel, that was necessarily like at the epicenter of it, and that led to that design work that it was an arch that bridged United and Community, and furthermore it arched off of the I in United and landed in the I of Community to emphasize that it was the individuals
Mhm.
on both sides of that bridge that had the power to help us with our mission.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. You did a phenomenal job on that. So thank you so much. Um, so let's talk about, I mean, obviously we're living in, the pandemic times here. What do you think that uh, brands should, I guess, work towards post-pandemic, especially when you're speaking about larger societal issues? What would be your advice, I guess?
Well, I think the thing that we're noticing more and more is the economic power of brands to
Absolutely.
uh, change socially, right? So I think that that's really interesting. If a large portion of a brand's consumer audience is in line with the brand as well as a certain segment of messaging, and that in turn is maybe colliding with perhaps the media that they're running, or the platforms that they're running on. It's interesting to see how these brands are, voting with their money, so to speak, right? They're saying we're going to take some of our money away from this or that, and as a sign, right, of we're disagreeing with how your message or how you're doing it. So I think that that's really interesting. That seems to be, that's definitely within the last 6 months has again been something that we're seeing a lot of.
Yeah.
So that's a portion of how brands, I think, should continue to act.
Yeah, definitely. We are definitely seeing a lot of that in the last 6 months. And I think even before then, though, too, right? With, we talked about Tom's. If you look at Kind bars, right? I think more and more consumers are demanding to really understand, like, how are you sourcing these ingredients? What are you putting in the food? You know what I mean? Even if you look at beauty brands, they're doing the same things. So you're right. It is not, I don't see that slowing down at any point in the future. So
No, and that's not necessarily a post-COVID thing to your initial question. I do think it's just an evolution, right? I think that you know 20 years ago we didn't always know what was going on behind the curtain,
right.
right? And now I mean, like, let's go back to beauty brands.
Sure.
I mean, you didn't really know how they were testing those products, and then that you didn't have the pervasiveness of information or the distribution of information, right? And
Right.
so you'd be like, well, it seems like maybe they're not doing the right thing, but I'm not so sure,
I'm
right?
not so sure. Right.
Uh, right. And so now, like, it's like when somebody's not doing the right thing, it can happen fast that that message is distributed so quickly. So I think I mean, it causes everybody to maybe behave a little bit more appropriately, which is in this case not a bad thing, right? As if you're, when it comes to living what you're promoting, right? So if you're promoting a clean brand, or a less harmful brand, um, you better be living it,
Yeah.
or
Better.
there will be a backlash.
That's exactly right. Yeah, definitely. Consumers are very savvy and have a lot of research and information at their fingertips nowadays. So you're absolutely
Right.
right. So, lessons learned from branding for a higher purpose. Number one, when your people understand the mission, they are inspired to work harder for you. Number two, no matter what business you're in, finding your high purpose can be a huge growth accelerator. And number three, mission driven brands are inherently authentic and transparent. Well, thank you so much, Ken. It's been a pleasure speaking with you as always. We really appreciate it and appreciate all the work that you do.